Ingathering.
In the fall.
In the quiet.
In the noise.
In thought.
In spirit.
In the beginning. In the end.
In faith.
In hope.
In love.
In
unison.
I see your face across the sea. You're in the waves surrounding me. I hear your voice call on the breeze on the ocean. Sailing on the ocean. The moon is rising in the east. Stars hang back to the hearts of the ones we wish to come home to. But the moonlit night directs this flight, singing the ocean road will guide you. I see your face across the sea. Waves surrounding me. I hear your voice in the breeze on the ocean. When I wake, I'll cast my anchor down to my lover's arms along the ocean's cold, across the sea, home again. So be with me across the sea, out on the. I see your face across the sea. You're in the waves surrounding me. I hear your voice call on the breeze on the ship out on the ocean. I see your face across the sea. You're in the waves surrounding me. I hear your voice call on the breeze on the ship out on the ocean. On the ship out, on the ship out on the ocean.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, as is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, yet again come. We begin our congregational year with these words of invitation to existing members and new visitors alike. These words by the 13th century Sufi poet Rumi, remind us of how welcoming we are. And those words are just as welcoming in the 21st century as they were 7 centuries ago. We are welcoming of everyone, including the spiritual traveler with itchy feet, the lover of leaving. But of course, we hope that you will stay with us, not just this morning, but throughout the church year and beyond. And ours is no caravan of despair, as is a caravan of hope, as is a caravan of resistance, as is a caravan, moral arc of the universe that bends towards justice. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of York. My name is Reverend Terry Cummings, and it's my pleasure and privilege to serve as your minister during this coming year. Today, we celebrate the beginning of a new year in our congregational life. This congregation has been around now for 66 years. During that time, it has survived 3 pandemics, 16 presidential elections, and 9 economic recessions, not including the present ones. This coming year will be the first time we've had to navigate our way through all 3 of those things at once. But if past is prologue, we will surely find a way to endure and be there for one another during these very difficult and trying times, just as we have for the last 66 years of our existence. And as we begin this congregational year, I'd like to share a wish for you. Some years ago, I became a Unitarian Universalist after a lifetime of being completely non-religious. Nowadays, sometimes when I think and meditate about what it means to be a Unitarian, I really get a glow. I feel goosebumps. I feel such joy about being a UU. It's a feeling I can't really explain, but sometimes it just hits me how great it is to be a member of a congregation, of a community, to be part of something so much bigger than myself. And I actually feel shivers in my spine when I think that. And so my wish for you this coming year, despite all of the troubles we're going to go through, and I know, wish for you and all of us that we will come through those and come out the other end stronger, better, whole. But my wish for you is that during this year, you too will experience that feeling of joy that will give you the same kind of goosebumps, the same kind of shivers in your spine that I feel sometimes when I reflect about what it is to be a part of this incredible faith tradition. So once again, we welcome you to our Sunday morning service as we celebrate our ingathering with one of my favorite, I know many of your favorite rituals, our water communion service. But first, I'd like to welcome Vice Chairperson of the Board, Jennifer Potts, who has just a few words to share with members of the congregation. Thank you, Jennifer.
Good morning. My name is the pleasure of serving the congregation as Vice Chair of the Board for the 2020-2021 fiscal year. Over the past few months, your leadership board has been working diligently to bring about positive actions within the UUCY community. In August, we held a leadership retreat, and from that event, we will have mission and vision statements to present to the congregation soon. We approved a policy to allow use of the buildings with COVID mitigations in place. Staff restructuring was approved that will give us a new staff member position to strengthen our communications work within and outside of our congregation. The board's priority now and for the next year will be to guide UUCY through the challenges of COVID. You'll hear more about this at the congregational meeting coming up on September 27th, but we wanted to communicate that our financial position remains relatively stable after 6 months of pandemic. We are also discussing ways to maintain community to fully gather together. There is a virtual auction coming up in November that will be an opportunity to address both of these challenges, to support the congregation financially, and to reconnect socially. As the representative for the board today, I welcome everyone back to UUCY for our Ingathering service and hope for our future. Thank you.
There will be some participatory portions of this service, so I do encourage you to participate at home. We're about to light our chalice, so I encourage you to light your chalice as well and show everyone on the screen your lighting of that chalice. There will be some water aspects. There will be a responsive reading. If those children are hanging around the screen but not quite on screen, encourage them to come join us during the water communion because they will quite enjoy the hand washing ritual. So now we begin, and we come together again this morning for worship and fellowship, as in the chat box, we greet old friends and new visitors. And in keeping with our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we light a chalice as we begin our service. Our chalice lighting words are today, "Thirsty" by Reverend Gregory Pelly. And so we gather from the ebb and flow of our lives, thirsty for connection to ourselves, thirsty for connection to others, thirsty for connection to larger life. As we light this chalice, may all who gather be filled with joy and hope, with compassion and love, so that we may pour ourselves out into the world. I encourage you to join singing along to our opening hymn, "Return Again," as we will play now for you.
Return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
The story is called Higgins, A Drop with a Dream by Reverend Christopher Buse. the illustrations you will see on your screen, the illustrations you'll see on the screen were actually done by my son, Ben. And I will encourage anyone like to illustrate any of our future Time for All Ages to let me know. I would happily have those additions. So once upon a time, there was a drop of water named Higgins. But Higgins was no ordinary drop of water. He was a drop of water with a dream. Now, Higgins lived in a valley where it had not rained for a very long time. So all the lovely green grass was turning brown, and all the beautiful flowers were wilting, and all the trees were starting to droop. Higgins had a dream that one day the valley would be a beautiful place again. But what could he do? After all, he was only a drop of water. So one day, Higgins decided to travel and tell others about his dream. All the other drops listened very politely, but no one believed that his dream would come true. Higgins said one, "Get your head out of the clouds. You can't spend your whole life dreaming." So Higgins decided that he had to do something to make his dream come true. So he began to think and think and think, and one day, as he was walking by a rusty old bucket, if enough of us drops of water got together in this bucket, Higgins thought, there would be enough water to sprinkle on a few flowers to help them grow and become beautiful again. So eagerly, Higgins told everyone his great idea. But everyone thought he was just being foolish. That Higgins is nothing but a dreamer, they said. Higgins decided he had to do something to convince the others that he was right. So he said to them, "I don't know about you, but I'm getting into the bucket. I hope some of you will join me. Then there might be enough water to help at least some flowers grow beautiful again." So Higgins ran as hard as he could, hopped way up in the air, and landed with a kerplunk in the bottom of the bucket. And there he sat, just a drop in the bucket. For a long time, Higgins was very lonely. It seemed like no one else was going to join him. But after a while, some of the other drops could see that the grass was dying and the flowers were wilting and the trees were drooping. They all agreed that something must be done. So suddenly, one drop shouted, "I'm going to the bucket with Higgins." And the drop leaped through the air and landed, kerplunk, in the bucket. Then two other drops yelled, "Wait for us!" And they hopped through the air and landed in the bucket. Then 10 drops jumped, then 50, and then hundreds of drops came from all around just to hop in the bucket. Soon, the bucket was completely full of water. But there were still more drops that wanted to join. So they found another bucket and hopped in. Before long, there were 2 buckets of water, then 3, then 4, 10, 100, thousands of
We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger. We are building a new way. World be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. And feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. On the way, we are building on the way. We are building on the way, feeling stronger every day. We are building on the way. We are every day. We are building a new way.
We come now to that time in our service when we ask for a financial gift to the congregation partner. As we're gathering the offering this morning, though, I invite anyone who has a matter of the heart to share with everyone to type it in the chat box. And when we come to doing the matters of the heart, to sharing them, I have my computer here and I'll read them aloud, and Matt will light a candle for those that are shared with us. So now is the time in our service when we ask to the congregation and also to help us share the plate partner. The last several months has been a challenge because we've been asking you to give online as opposed to passing around the basket that we normally do as Sunday morning collections. And it's unfortunate because part of the mission of the church is to support our social justice partners. This month's social justice partner is March on Harrisburg, which does some really incredible work in our state legislature. Many of you who will be voting this year give a reason why you're voting by. Was in part the result of work that March on Harrisburg did. Many of our members, including me, were there in Harrisburg arguing for the law to change so that you could do exactly what you're going to be doing in just a few weeks from now, hopefully mailing in your vote. So this work that we do is really important. And I'm going to ask you sincerely, even though we're online and doing a virtual service and doing virtual giving, please, please, please be as generous as you can possibly afford to be. Your giving supports not only the work of the congregation and its daily life, but also the work of our social justice partner. I'm going to pause now for just a few seconds to give you time to give online if you're willing or able to do so. I'm hoping that the link to give is in the chat box. That's what we hope to do every Sunday. So I'm just going to take a few minutes as we continue in the spirit of sharing to let you have time. We give thanks for the many blessings every one of us has received in our lives. And we acknowledge the generosity of spirit expressed through this offering. Thank you so much for your generous donations. May we use these gifts wisely and well.
The words, McClay. As drops of rain that find each other, and a rivulet, a stream, a river, a sea, so are we drawn together. Fortunate to find each other, so are we bound to shared passage toward an unknown ocean and eternity.
We bless this water as a symbol of life. This water comes from many places. This water comes from one planet. This water holds us together. This water gives us hope. We bless this water as a symbol of life, as a symbol of pride, and as a symbol of our love for each other, our community. Why do we start our church year with a ritual called the water communion? The word communion has Christian connotations, and many of us find off-putting. The word communion actually means the sharing or exchanging of intimate thoughts and feelings, especially when the exchange is on a spiritual level or on. And that's part of what being a Unitarian Universalist is all about, sharing our ideas and sharing our feelings, connecting with one another and connecting with the natural world. Today's water communion doesn't involve the physical exchange of waters by all of you, but it does represent exactly that kind of sharing, in keeping with the tradition of our Unitarian. The history of our water communion is less a her story. Like Higgins in our story this morning, two Unitarian Universalist women had a dream. Their dream was to create a ritual that would be celebrated exclusively by and for women. In 1980, these two women, Carolyn McDade, you may recognize her name from Spirit of Life fame, and Lucy Longview created a ritual that they called Coming Home Like Rivers to the Sea. They asked 8 different women, each coming from distant places, from congregations all over the country, to bring water to a gathering that they were hosting in East Lansing, Michigan. And so it was that water from the Rio Grande, water from a river in Canada, rainwater from Maryland, water from the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans and other places was poured into an earthenware bowl as each woman, its significance for her, and a portion was taken to help with each other. Like Higgins in our story this morning, these 8 women were drops of water in a bucket that was soon to be filled to the brim with other drops of water as other women and other Unitarian Universalists saw the meaning of the ritual and adapted it for their Sunday morning worship. So many drops of water to fill so many buckets that eventually the water ritual that was designed by Lucy Longview and Carolyn McDade became a Universalist faith. By the mid-1990s, men too recognized, of course, as they would, the connection to one another, the totality of life, and our place is exactly what Lucy Longview had in mind when she and Carolyn McDade designed the ritual. While the words spoken at the water communion were not the same, sung like rivers to the sea ritual, all shared in common a few common things. Water, the sharing of stories, and the sharing of home, stay in contact with each other. And so the mingling of waters in our sanctuary this morning that Matt so graciously prepared for us is like the mingling of the water in the Higgins Story for All Ages and in the original women's ritual as it was conceived more than 40 years ago. And like the drops of water in the story this morning, in order to be effective, in order to make the plants in the valley grow again, each individual one of us needs to come together collectively and work towards a common goal. We as well, as individual as we are and as individualistic as we all are, need to act in community together in order to have a better chance of getting anything done. Individualism needs to be a way, make way for community action, especially in these troubled times in which we're currently living. And so for me, the combining of these waters brings to mind those feelings that I shared with you earlier, those feelings of joy, excuse me, those feelings of goosebumps, as I think about the work that we do together in community in the same bucket. To be a drop of water and part of that river that flows from our sanctuary, wherever that river may lead us. Thank you.
One voice singing in the darkness. All it takes is one voice singing so they hear what's on your mind. And when you look around, there's more voice singing in the darkness, joining with your one voice. Each and every note another octave, hands are joined and fears unlocked. If only voice would start it on its own. We need just one voice facing the unknown, and then alone. It takes that one voice. It takes that one voice, just one voice, singing in the darkness. All it takes is one voice. Shout it out and let it ring. Just one voice. It takes that one
Water is a symbol of life because it nourishes. Do you remember that time earlier today when I told you, get the kids part? Well, even if the kids aren't there, this is participatory for you as well. So I encourage you to have a bowl of water nearby as we begin this hand washing ritual. Today we embark on church year, and though our ritual of water communion remains the same, we find ourselves in strange times and unusual circumstances. So a new church year, in a new way, I believe it's best to begin with a clean slate. The hand washing ceremony is a ritual cleansing cultures all over the world. It is a spiritual purification, a bringing of your mind and your soul into balance. It's a ritual of forgiveness and of letting go. So as you wash your hands in the bowl of water, forgive yourselves and others. Allow yourself to be forgiven. Allow your hands to be dried by another if possible, displaying your vulnerability. As we become more vulnerable, we become more caring and more understanding. With other people, allow them to cup the water over your hands 3 or 4 times before allowing them to pat your hands dry. If you are doing it by yourself, I encourage you to do each hand twice before patting itself dry. I will show you as a demonstration. Nope, hands over. 1, 2, 3. And now the same. Okay. You're gonna do it to me? Yes. So as you are doing this at home, I offer you this prayer. Water flows over these hands, just as the Spirit of life flows within us and without us. May we be preserved in this time of sickness, fear, and division. Holy Divine, reassure my heart as we pray for healing of our lives, of our church, of our country, and of our world. Remind us of the inherent worth and dignity of all people. Let us use these hands to work for justice, equity, and compassion for all. Blessed be. Amen. Now is the time for a responsive reading, and I promise you that the response is easy to remember. When I pause, you will all respond, this water is sacred. Y'all got it? All right. These are the words of Reverend Ranwa Hamami. This water is sacred. It is made sacred by the many hands that have poured it with intention and love, the many stories that each drop contains, the many lives surrounding it in this unique moment, connected by commitment and faith. This water is sacred. May it continue to flow through this community with shining reflections of the unique gifts that flow through each of its members. This water is sacred. May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through through ripples of growth and change. This water is sacred. May it continue to bless this community with loving reminders of our collective responsibility to one another and to the world. This water is sacred. May its ripples be a reminder that the changes and growth within this community bring movement and transformation to the world beyond our doors. This water is sacred. May its purity offer grace to our community and the willingness to forgive ourselves and one another when we make mistakes. This water is sacred. In moments when we are confused or uncertain, may it bring us clarity of purpose and commitment. This water is sacred. And in moments when the reservoirs of hearts and spirits are drained by sorrow and pain, may it nourish them with the knowledge that we are surrounded by a deep and abundant love. This water is sacred.
Here is my dog Daisy. She's a golden retriever and she really loves to swim. She loves it in the wintertime whenever the water mixes with the cold air and makes snow. She loves running around the yard, the first snow of the year. You feel the chill of the snow underneath her paws. She loves it whenever it rains and she can make holes in the yard and make mud. She loves playing in the rain and playing in the dirt. She also loves it whenever we get out the hose on a sunny day and we can play in the yard. She loves the feel of the sun on her back and the nice cool drops on her body. She really loves water in many different forms. She has a deep appreciation for water.
We're at Delaware Seashore State Park near Bethany Beach. And this water is special to us because
have fun and play in it. And it's nice to watch and listen to.
it provides a sense of calm and peace, lots of family memories, and in some cases, food.
This is Tesla.
And Charles.
And we're here in our backyard. Our contribution to the water service this year comes from our downspouts,
which we collected 5-gallon buckets and other containers for our gardens.
and also which is also fed by some of our the rain backyard. Thanks. Hope to see everyone soon.
Hello, my name is Robert Felton. For this year's water ceremony, I recognized the local Lake Williams as my sacred place. Hole. Every day that I drive into York, I pass this special place. When I do, I feel a sense of beauty and calm that puts me in a good place to begin my workday. Sometimes when I come to work before the sun comes up, I drive especially slow, knowing I'll see a few deer alongside the roadway. When I see their eyes glowing, I slow down, dim my high beams, and offer them a prayer of gratitude, thanking them for their beauty. Other times, when the sun is beginning to rise, I stop and take a few photos to share later with my workmates. There's a special joy in sharing the beauty I see with others. Mine. I've had many visits to this lake, oftentimes with Connie Molitor and her pets, one time a kayaking adventure with Diane Crea, and hiking there with friends. This lake has blessed me, just as it has so many folk who walk its shores or fish and boat on its waters. I remember when the lake was empty for a whole year as it awaited repairs to the dam. I felt its sense of knowing that one day it would be filled up once again. Ecosystem. I also recall how this lake created a whimsical connection with me and my UUCY family. At a recent annual picnic at the Marches, we played a fun little game of imagery and personal revelation. Kathy Smith and a few others guided the game with good-natured fun and humor. I think Steve March laughed the loudest. The game revealed an entirely different slant on what Lake Williams represented in certain aspects of my life. It was so much fun. Hearty laughter ensued. Through my many experiences with Lake Williams, I have learned that no matter how we do it, it's great to be together with the UUCY family. Love will guide us.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace. I've got peace like a river. I've I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
As we extinguish our chalices here in the sanctuary and at our home, please join in saying the words that appear on your screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Also like to say a special note of thank you to Matt Shinneman for his beautiful prayer and all the lovely work that he did in arranging our service today, him and Gretchen Decker. And they worked so hard this week to bring this presentation to you, this wonderful water communion ritual and service to you today. And also thanks again to Grant and Doug and Robert for being with us to bring it into your living rooms. It's not easy to bring virtual worship services to you on Sunday mornings. So our closing words are by Kaylee Rice. They are a poem entitled, "All Rivers Run to the Sea." It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water bubbling towards its destination, and finally, the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today, you brought water, poured it into a common bowl. Though our experiences have differed, these waters mingle, signifying unity. Today, you came and shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred space, hearts filled with hope for new beginnings, a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, where your life cup overflows, where deep in your spirit you have found in this place a home. All rivers run to the sea. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for being part of this wonderful ceremony and ritual, and thank you so much. Have a great week, everybody.